Welcome to episode 65 of Two Guys, One Sport. We are late because I forgot to eat dinner. This is a conundrum that shouldn't ever happen to me because of how much I love food, but whatever, we're rolling on. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris.
I'm George. Chris, how was your July 4th?
Extremely uneventful, and I could not possibly be happier about that. I woke up late. I streamed in the morning. I watched streams and played games during the afternoon. I streamed again at night, and that was the sum total of my 4th of July. No barbecues, no fireworks, no nothing, and it was amazing. Fantastic day. How was yours?
I got up, I went to the office for a couple hours, get a little bit of work done, make a little money. Got home by 1, took a nap from 2 to 5, got up, watched you stream. Did what I do every July 4th, watch Jaws.
Nice. That's an awesome way to spend July 4th.
Takes place on July 4th.
Yeah.
They don't want to shut the fucking beaches down because it's the July 4th holiday.
Oh my God.
Like Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Jaws is a 4th of July movie. You know?
Oh my God.
And then went to bed. It was good. By the way, Jaws, if you haven't seen it, you should probably watch it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've seen it.
Oh yeah. The funny thing about Jaws, real quick.
No, go for
it. My mother refuses to step foot in the water at the beach because of Jaws.
Yeah, that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
I believe it. And you're an East Coast guy, so you guys were like right there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Amity Island might as well is basically New England, you know?
Yeah. It's off the coast of Massachusetts, and like that is entirely within like. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's actually an actual place. It might have just been like a fictional representation of a real place,
like Martha's Vineyard or whatever.
Yeah,
Nantucket, all those
exactly.
towns.
But that area off the coast of Massachusetts in the Nantucket Bay there, that is shark country there, and you don't want to be there at certain points in the summer if you're afraid of sharks.
What is your favorite scene in Jaws?
Oh, the boat. Absolutely, the freaking boat.
Yeah, the boat's great.
And when Jaws, his hat, gets his head up on the boat, and what's his face is having to like fend him off, like kicking him in the face and whatnot.
Oh
yeah. I love that.
The old guy with the knife is like stabbing him as he's getting eaten.
Yep.
Yeah, Robert Shaw's the man. I took my sister like 3 or 4 years ago because they play it on July 4th at one of the small movie theaters by my mom's house, and she'd never seen it. I'm like, all right, that's it. We're gonna go see Jaws like right now, and she was terrified because like you and I take it for granted because we've seen it a bunch of times. You never really see the shark until the end. And it's just like the anticipation of seeing the shark. And once she finally saw the shark, she was like grabbing my arm and everything. And she was like, in her 20s. She wasn't like a little kid. She was an adult. And she was like, this movie's fucking terrifying.
Yep.
But I think my favorite scene is where they're comparing scars. And Robert Shaw talks about being on the Indianapolis.
Okay.
800 people went in the water that day. 6 days later, 300 came out or whatever. And it's just like, and the way it's shot and the way it's composed, and you just see him just own. We talk about this, and I'm bringing this back to wrestling, like I always do. We talk about owning the screen and owning the ring, and there are certain people who own the ring, and every time they are in the ring, you can't help but watch them. I've talked about Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, where 80,000 sets of eyes were glued onto Ronda Rousey. Well, if you're watching that scene in Jaws, every eye is glued on Robert Shaw, because he owns that screen. So it's that scene is just, and it just shifts because they're drinking and talking about scars, and then he talks about the boat, and it just 180 flip. And that kind of charisma is it cannot be made or synthesized or bottled. It's just it's just
you're either born with it or you're not.
And we've learned that in wrestling over the years. Like you can get in great shape, and you can do all the flippy-do moves you want, but if you can't connect to the crowd and you can't connect to fellow performers, then really what the hell are you doing? You're just play acting. So
I hear you.
Christopher, you have a match of the week.
Oh, I do.
And I am looking forward to it, my friend.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to send you the link to this right now. I'm going to send it to Don Sal as well because
I will be on with Don Sell tomorrow, by the way. 8 your time, 7 my time. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But
okay,
Don Sell's so cool. He deserves 2 plugs.
Yeah, absolutely, he does. But so we talked about Io Shirai last week, and
we should talk about Io Shirai every week.
Yes, we should. She is worth talking about every week. But we talked about her last week, and I mentioned during the course of talking about her that I mentioned the comparisons of her to Arisa Nakajima, who is the second best women's wrestler on the planet and the one you've never heard of because she's in all of the like underground, not underground, but the undiscovered Joshi promotions, basically. And so I decided
Sendai Girls and stuff.
She's in Seedling mainly. And she does a little bit of work with Sendai Girls and Oz Academy and whatnot.
Oh my god, like the super small promotions. I love it.
Yeah. So so I got in my head as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a match of the week that we should cover an Arisa Nakajima match. So I went into the internets, went to the Google machine and said, I Googled Arisa Nakajima and looked for matches. And the one that immediately caught my eye, that I knew immediately was going to be the winner, without even having seen a second of it, taken from December 15th, 2013.
Okay.
5 years ago, a young 24-year-old Arisa Nakajima wrestling the baddest woman on the planet, Kana.
Oh, I know that name.
You might know her a little bit better by another name nowadays, but this was a moment of seeing this and knowing this is going to be something special because Arisa Nakajima now as the ace of most of the promotions that she's in because she is, as I said, the second best women's wrestler on the planet.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that now that Io is in WWE, she's the best female performer who's not in the WWE.
Yes, without a doubt. But, this was back 2013. And last week I talked about the match that turned Io from being, the rising star to being, the ace of Stardom and to being the queen. This is not that equivalent match for Arisa Nakajima, but it's definitely one of the matches that's in her rise to prominence because at this point she was this match actually took place in JWP, which up until it went defunct last year was the oldest Joshi promotion in all of Japan. And this was at the point where she was like the up and coming baby face of the promotion and was like already like you could tell she was on her path to being the top star. Think like 2009 Kofi Kingston before all the politics happened with Randy Orton and all that other bullshit. Like this, she was the one you knew she was gonna be she was gonna be the girl. She was gonna be the woman. She was destined for the top already. But Kana still was the baddest woman on the planet. And we're not talking mask-wearing, eccentric Asuka like you see now in WWE. No, we're talking corpse paint-wearing, will shoot headbutt you until she bleeds from the forehead because she's just that fucking crazy. Kana.
Don't put her in a match with Shibata. That could end poorly. That could end poorly.
The two of them will kill each other.
Yeah, that could end poorly.
Yeah. Side note about Shibata, I actually saw a really awesome picture on Twitter of Shibata with Hideo Itami from the recent WWE tour in Japan.
Nice.
Look it up on Itami's account. It's really cool to see. But anyway, so start the match immediately. They have a little handshake. Arisa turns back, walks back to her corner. Kana immediately charges her and Germans her to start the match. And that sets it off immediately. This is a tale of two matches in essence. The first 6 or 7 minutes of the match is basically Kana and Arisa just beating the ever fucking hell out of each other with
that makes me happy.
everything they can get their hands on. They're throwing chairs at each other. They're slamming each other's heads into signs against the wall. They're in Karakin Hall, by the way, for this show. And like there are signs like on different sections of the wall advertising future shows and things. And at one point they're up in the stands and they're exchanging shots of banging each other's heads against the wall. One point, Kana just starts beating Arisa in the head with the microphone for the ring announcer. They're just bludgeoning the shit out of each other. It's a really violent spectacle. And then once they get back in the ring is when the real match starts. Because now that they've just beaten the ever-loving hell out of each other, it's time to just start the torture session. In Kana's mind, at least, because she's corpse paint wearing Kana, and this is what she does. Arisa Nakajima is only 24 years old. She's a baby. She's not going to be able to stand up to the baddest woman on the planet. Hell no. So Kana just, throws her in the ring, hits the flying armbar, and, just goes for the win right off the bat. But Arisa, being the amazing, never say die, up-and-coming babyface that she is, says, hell no, I'm not giving into this, and transitions it into an amazing leg lock before Kana transitions back to the armbar. Arisa rolls over and picks the ankle and goes into an angle lock right from there, and we're just off to the races. Just submission exchange for submission exchange between arm bars and knee bars and ankle locks and cross faces. There's an amazing sequence. One of the best sequences of the match is Kana has Arisa back in the armbar again, and Arisa's rolling like crazy to try and get out of it, and eventually she manages to trap Kana's arm that has her in the armbar, trap it in the legs, and transition straight into a crossface. And it's one of the most beautiful seamless transitions I've ever seen in catch wrestling kind of style. It's so good. And so they're just going hold for hold, submission for submission, trying like hell to just wear each other out. And, in between holds, whenever they actually have a break, it's just hard strikes, hard elbows, slaps, actually closed fist strikes at one point. They are just, because they're just both so fired up and so pissed that the other one won't give in, that they're just mauling each other in between submission holds. There's one point where Kana just goes for a spinning roundhouse kick, and Arisa grabs the kick, and just shoves her down right back into another angle lock. I can't even talk about just how good these transitions were for like the next, I want to say, like 15 minutes of the match. It was just stellar stuff until we get to the shoot headbutt part, and from that point it just kind of devolves into just a bludgeoning fest once again, mixed in with some submissions, but it kind of devolves from there. Kind of goes a little bit downhill, but you finally get to the end. Kana's got the Kana lock in, the crossface chicken wing. Arisa's fading. Kana's bleeding from the head at this point, and she knows this is her last chance to take Arisa out. Arisa's fading. Arisa gets life back in her and bites the arm on Asuka to break the hold. Gets her up. A few moves later, triple German, fourth German into a bridge, and Arisa gets the pin after 29 minutes. It's a long-ass match, but it's a fantastic match. Even with how it devolves at the end, the middle segment of just them going hold for hold, submission for submission with each other, you can tell, like, that's a moment of, like, projection towards greatness. You can see right in that moment, Arisa has exactly what any top promotion would be looking for. Any company in the world would be wanting from their top-level babyface. The best never say die attitude. Think a young Bryan Danielson in ROH or a young Johnny Gargano in Evolve. Like the kind of babyface that can just galvanize everyone. By the start of the match, there was dueling chants for Kana and Arisa. By the end of the match, the entire crowd was on their feet screaming for Arisa to get the win. Just a beautiful moment of babyface excellence. And you don't get to see a whole lot of Arisa, at any point anymore. But what she brings to the table now is 10 times what you see in this match, and it is amazing. She is such a stellar performer. I am hoping and praying that she gets a spot in the second Mae Young Classic so that the world can get a better eye on her, because she is just too good to be hidden like she is. And that's going to be what we use to kick off my month of matches of the week. It's Joshi July officially starting this week.
I love a good theme month.
Yep. Next week, we're going to be looking at one of my other favorite amazing Joshi baby faces in Hikaru Shida. So be ready for that.
You got it.
What do you got for me?
There's a podcast I listen to that is currently on hiatus. And they always open up with, what is the best thing you saw this week in wrestling?
Okay.
And it's a question I asked when I did my run-in Saturday morning with Taker's Minion, Mr. Dr. Senju, and the Rogues Gallery that was on the show. There were a lot of us. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is the best thing you saw this week? And I talked about the best thing I saw that week. Well, it's a new week. So I'm going to talk about the best thing I've seen this week. And it is the best thing I've seen. Maybe not the best thing I've seen this year, but it is in the top 10. And I am talking about the main event of this last Tuesday's 205 Live. Mustafa Ali defeating Buddy Murphy in a no disqualification match. Chris, this is a top 10 match. This is top. Have you seen this match?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
This is a top 10 match.
It's like, oh my God.
This is not a top 10 match in 205 Live. This is not a top 10 match in WWE. This is a top 10 match in the world.
Yeah.
Chris, I went 4 3/4 on this match. I loved this match.
Yep.
It's long. It starts about halfway through the show. So if you're watching the show, just go to halfway and then go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Starts right away with Ali hitting a big flip dive over the turnbuckle before the bell rings, and we're off to the races. He tries to take Murphy down, boots him, gets the heat, throws him over the announce table. What I love about this match, and it's a long match, and I'm not going to go through blow by blow because it's like 30 minutes, is that it is Ali is the match is Ali's heart and spirit and never say die attitude versus Buddy Murphy's viciousness and ruthless aggression. Mm-hmm. It's a great babyface versus heel matchup in a company that so often muddles the alignments. Quick, is Bailey a face or a heel? Pop quiz.
I don't fucking know.
Okay. You're not the only one. Mustafa Ali is 100% a babyface, and Buddy Murphy is 100% a heel.
Yeah.
And I love that it gives people something to latch onto. Let's talk about my favorite part of this match, which is actually my I took a shitload of notes, and then I bolded the parts that I love so that I was able to easily reference them.
Okay.
Ali gets bullied around, but he fights back off his knees to make Murphy seem that much more dominant.
Right.
He's punching him from his knees because he can't get up because Murphy's worked him that hard. And that's how you make a guy who's not that big, relatively speaking, look like a monster.
Yeah.
By having your baby face just fight back from his knees or his back.
Yep.
Let's talk about the best part of this match.
Okay.
Murphy avoids this is down the line. These guys, it's a no DQ match. They're beating the shit out of each other outside the ring. There's the ring steps are involved. The announce tables are involved. Murphy avoids the 054. Mm-hmm. Hits a cheeky Nando. Into a spinning power bomb. Into a spinning spiral bomb just because. And I'm like, I'm at the office on Wednesday morning, and I'm the only one in the office, and I'm like jumping up and down. Yeah. And I'm like, this match rules.
Yep.
And then I look at the little time thing. I'm like, holy shit, we got another 15 minutes of this to go.
Uh-huh.
You know? Ali used the ring steps to set up a superplex.
Nice.
So we took the base of the ring steps. Okay? You can picture the bottom half.
Yeah.
And he stood them on their end. And then he stood on top of the ring steps to do a superplex to Murphy.
Nice. This
was awesome.
Yeah.
How about the part where Ali, in one motion, Murphy was on the barricade standing there because he was trying to hit Ali. Ali gets up, springboards from the floor to the announce table to the barricade for a Spanish fly to the announce table that doesn't break.
What the fuck?
This match was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, how about Buddy Murphy, who's obviously been watching his Golden Elite tapes with about 3 of the best V-triggers you'll ever see. As Ali is tied up in the ropes.
Yep.
On his knees. and Murphy just starts teeing off on him with V trigger after V trigger. And the ref asks if Ali wants to quit, and Ali's draped down in the ropes, and his hair is covering his face, got that long black hair. And you just see him shake his head no.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks up at Murphy, and he just smiles at the guy. And then Murphy hits him with one more V trigger. But that's not the end.
Yep.
How about Buddy Murphy, again, watching his Golden Elite tapes, going for a Kamigoya knee just because. You know, he never goes for his own finish. He protects his own finish. He protects the Murphy's Law. But he does everyone else's finish to try to get the near fall. And I'm like, holy shit, he's going to win with this. He's going to win with this Kamigoya knee. Because you can see him setting it up. And I'm like, he's going to knee this poor bastard to death. Ali's head is going to pop off and fly 5 rows into the crowd. It's going to be great, like Mortal Kombat. He goes for the knee, hits it, gets 2.999.
Yep.
And I'm standing up and down. And I'm like, this match is awesome.
Yep.
You know? Murphy goes to attack him with the ring steps again. Ali hits a run-up spinning tornado DDT off the ring steps for the 1-2-3. Never hit the Murphy's Law. Never hits the 054 because Chris, they're going to have a match down the line, and it may not be for another 6 months. But when they do, they still have to decide if the other man is strong enough to kick out of his finish. Just like Okada Omega, right? We don't know if when Okada kicks out of that One-Winged Angel for the first time, it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
When Ali kicks out of that Murphy's Law for the first time, it's going to be awesome. And I have been saying this for 2 months, 3 months. If you are not watching 205 Live, you need to be watching 205 Live.
Absolutely.
It is the best show this company puts out. It is logical. The characters are well defined. The wrestling is good. There are old school jobbers. TJ Perkins calling himself the Cruiser Great and tapping out fat jobbers is a great sight because they're steering into the skid of, instead of being stupid video game TJ Perkins, they're embracing the fact that he's a dick and making him a dick.
Yep.
Like Hideo Itami is killing people on this show. Chris, 205 Live is appointment TV for me, man.
I believe
it is so good. And given how mediocre Raw and SmackDown are, and it's just such a refreshing professional wrestling show. I love it. And I am Team Ali, and I cannot wait for him to win the belt whenever that happens. It's going to be a great moment. But next week on 205 Live, we have Cedric Alexander versus Hideo Itami for the title. And you bet your ass at 9 o'clock, I won't be watching SmackDown. I'll be clicking on my little WWE network to watch 205 Live.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love it.
Don Sal's here. Hi, Don Sal.
Hey, Don Sal, my man. Lovely to see you, my friend. All right. Let us talk business, my friend.
You got it.
And business this week is a lot of New Japan.
Makes me happy.
Do you want to start with previews or do you want to start with recaps?
I did not watch any of the recaps. So, did you?
I watched a little bit. I caught a little bit of Strong Style Evolved.
Lead the way on that.
Okay. So, 2 nights, June 30th, July 1st, we had Strong Style Evolved taking place in the UK at the good old Planet Ice Arena and the Altrincham Ice Dome in in Milton Keynes, England, and then in Greater Manchester, England. Wonderful, wonderful venues, and of course, the wonderful British crowds that bring all the energy in the world to every wrestling show that they attend. It was a lot of filler, but the moments of greatness were amazingly great. I'm going to go through only a couple of matches from night 1, June 30th. First of all, Walter defeating Yuji Nagata, as you might expect. You know, we knew going into this that this was going to be Walter's time to shine, so to speak. That being said, Yuji Nagata Oh my God, Yuji freaking Nagata.
I mean, he had like the third best G1 last year, and he's what, 55?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the man.
He is the ageless wonder. I'm now dubbing Yuji Nagata the ageless wonder. This match was stellar. Absolutely stellar. Everything about this was just amazing. Yuji Nagata just bringing it to Walter at every chance that he could. Walter just being the immovable object. And, every time Yuji looked like he was going to make the comeback, Walter just struck him down again. But Yuji Nagata, he's the ageless wonder. He's the freaking the general of the young lions. He is the best of the dads. He is the one that nobody will conquer until he just can't do it anymore.
I wouldn't mind a singles title run for Nagata, to be honest. Not an IWGP Heavyweight Championship, because that belt is too precious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But if Minoru Suzuki can have an Intercontinental and do great work with it, why can't Yuji Nagata get a U.S. title run for 3 months?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not just saying that like it's a charity. Like, let's just give this guy a title run to give him a title run. I mean, you're telling me Yuji Nagata can't elevate the Intercontinental belt? Like, you're telling me that he can't have good matches with Juice Robinson, for example, and other mid-carders? You telling me, like, a Chase Owens, Yuji Nagata match for the U.S. belt wouldn't be a good match? You can't tell me that.
Absolutely not, no. I mean, just whether you want to call it a golden watch run or not, Yuji Nagata still has exactly what it takes.
That's exactly it. He still has what it takes.
Yep.
It's not a golden watch run would be like if you give it to like Manabu Nakanishi as a thank you present, who does not have what it takes.
Yeah.
But Nagata certainly does. And I mean, he is one of the 20 best workers in this company, right?
And it's not higher. Considering the caliber of workers that there are in this company.
I mean, he's one of the 15 best workers in this company.
Yeah.
He's like, so why can't he get at least a program? Why can't we get a Nagata Minoru Suzuki match for the Intercontinental or whatever? Yeah. Like you can't tell me that like a Nagata Tanahashi match at Power Struggle wouldn't be a great match.
Hell yeah.
Or I know Jericho has the Intercontinental right now, so it's kind of in limbo. But you can't tell me like Nagata can't chase Jay White for one tour through Korakuen and have it mean something when Jay White puts him down. It'll mean more when Jay White puts down Nagata, who's the legend who can still go, than it does when he beats Juice Robinson, if he beats Juice Robinson in 3 nights.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a great scene. This match. It's a simple story too. I love the simplicity of this story. It's all about, Nagata has scouted Walter and knows if you get chopped, you're fucked.
You're dead.
So he's just trying to avoid the chops. He tries to kick out the leg, tries to get him down, and and eventually they just have to resort to trading shots and Nagata eventually starts eating the chops. But he's Yuji freaking Nagata. He's the ageless wonder. And even if he gets chopped by freaking Walter, who you could easily say is one of the best in the world this year, if not the best.
I think he was number 2 on my Wrestler of the Year half year, right? Thereabouts, top 5, maybe number 3. So yeah, I won't argue with that.
He's still showing that fighting spirit until Walter just starts uncorking lariats and just takes him down with a pair of just ungodly clotheslines. There was one spot at the end that was kind of weird. There was a weird powerbomb spot towards the end. But other than that, great moment, great match. Let's talk about a match that didn't live up to my expectations, which I was kind of disappointed by. But it's fine. It was okay for what it was. Yoshihashi defeating Chris Brooks, who was from CCK. I love me some CCK. I love Chris Brooks. I love Kid Lycos. I love Travis Banks. We've well established my love.
We've discussed this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris Brooks is kind of like one of the like he's always in Travis's shadow in that regard, but he's a damn good worker in his own right. But he looked to be carrying some injuries into this match, and but regardless of that, putting it aside, the match looked like it got stuck in the middle, and nothing really got the crowd incredibly invested in it. I mean, they definitely fought. They definitely fought hard. Yoshihashi did eventually get the win in a little over 9 minutes with his finisher, Karma. But
seems kind of short.
Yeah, it was an abbreviated match. It could have been better, but just neither guy really seemed to be on their game that night, which was unfortunate. I feel like it could have been better if both of them had been on their game. It might have been a chemistry issue. I'm not sure. Slightly disappointing, but that I talk about that because it just goes to show every guy has his off nights. Chris Brooks, who normally is an exceptional worker, he had an off night. It happens. You move on. You move on from it, and you make sure you do even better the next night. Let's talk about the main event of the show. And we talked about this last week. We talked about our pants vacating the States. Undisputed British Tag Team Champions Suzuki Gun, Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki facing Kazuchika Okada and Tomohiro Ishii. Okada has new theme music. And Suzuki also has new theme music. First time that both have been played at a big show. Not sure how I feel about either of them yet, but we'll see. We shall see. I mean, I understand why they did it with Okada because, you can't exactly have the Rainmaker coming in there and not be the Rainmaker. So you had to kind of,
mix it up a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense. I do not approve though, but that makes sense.
Yeah. But all the same, match delivered in spades. Ishii started the match, and he just took the beating that you expect him to take from both Suzuki and Sabre. And he just fought back through it. He just fought back through everything that they both threw at him. Okada, for his part, delivered the same excellent character bits that we've seen from him since Dominion, since he lost the title, where, he still had his flash, he still had his moments, but something just doesn't seem right for him without his title. He just doesn't seem like he's entirely there.
He doesn't have Mr. Belt 2.0.
Yep. The finish, I loved this. Neither Okada or Ishii was able to hit their finishers. Okada couldn't get the Rainmaker off. Ishii couldn't hit the Brainbuster. And both of them just got outclassed. They just got outdone. And it ended much like a match that we've raved about. Sabre and Ishii from Long Beach from last year ended with all of Ishii's limbs trapped. But this time he had to submit. He had to submit. He literally could not do anything, and he had to submit. After 25 minutes, he just couldn't hold on. And some of those submission holds that Zack Sabre puts on just make me like I just can't even fathom it.
They're just
amazing.
Disgustingly great looking.
Yeah. He is stellar. He is stellar. So that was night one. It was good. It wasn't as great as it could have been, certainly, but it was good. Let's talk about night two. Night two had some moments of its own, for sure. Again, fair amount of filler, but all the same. Taichi, your guy,
my boy,
actually managed to pull out the win versus Will Ospreay.
Choo-choo!
Shocking.
Choo-choo! The Taichi train leaving the station, Chris. We need sound effects on this show, like a soundboard, like a radio show.
We do. We need a soundboard. Like what I should do is I should find a way to set up my stream deck to be able to play things during the show as well. I don't know if it can, but I got to find a way.
We need to get that drop of Mr. Torque saying you guys are smart as bleep for our open.
Yes. So Taichi as the
Taichi train's leaving the station, baby.
Technical heavyweight versus the junior Will Ospreay.
He should win then. He's the heavyweight.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes in New Japan booking.
Yeah.
Even though Taichi's been a junior for quite a long time, previous to his moving up. Taichi pulling his usual shit. You know, hanging out outside the ring, doing the Kevin Owens, before offering a handshake to Ospreay and going for the cheap shot. Will sidesteps it. Again, Taichi heads outside, and Will says, not this time, and just hits him straight with a tope. And, we bring it back in, but Taichi eventually gets back on outside and then suckers Ospreay into a chair shot. And that's 2 for 2 on nights of Will getting beamed in the head by a chair, which, sucks for him.
Don't
but
do that.
What are you gonna do?
Don't do that, Will.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a shoot chair shot or not. I can't say for certain if it was a shoot chair shot or not. But regardless, it was, Will getting fooled by Suzuki Gun and their chairs and their shenanigans with chairs. And eventually we get into our, traditional style match. Will hits a pretty freaking cool looking 619 at one point for a near fall. But Taichi grabbed the ref and threatened to make him collateral damage with a German suplex attempt, which was hilarious. We get back into it, and it's a nice back and forth affair. I'm not like hugely into it because I'm still not enthralled with Taichi. It devolves as all Taichi matches do. Ref gets pulled into harm's way, and goes down. Kanemaru comes out, tries to interfere with the whiskey. Ospreay blocks it and winds up getting hit, almost gets hit with the mic stand, but then gets hit with a low blow as the referee regains the sentence just in time for the power bomb to get Taichi the win. Not the greatest match that we've seen from these guys, not the worst, but it does go to show that there is a likely future going on between Will and the Suzuki Gun Juniors, because it's 2 nights in a row where Yoshinobu Kanemaru has fucked with him. Granted, on the first night, Will managed to overcome in his match against Kanemaru, but second night, Kanemaru fucking him up, or almost fucking him up, basically cost him. So I could see some feuds going on in the future between Will and Kanemaru, and possibly Will and Despy. We'll see.
I'm here for a Will Despy feud.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm all about that. All right. Let's talk about I don't want to talk about that Jay White match. It was actually, we can talk about this.
Sure. Who do you wrestle?
Mostly because I'm just not as familiar with Kyle Fletcher. It was supposed to be Chris Brooks versus Jay White, but the injuries that Brooks was dealing with from the previous night's match, and which is the reason why I brought that match up, led to this change in the card. Kyle Fletcher replacing Chris Brooks on the match. I've never seen Kyle Fletcher before. Never seen any of his stuff before, so this is my first time being exposed to him. White, as always, his usual excellent self, but Fletcher really showed some excellent style here. Showed a nice balance of high flying style and some really good striking. Pretty early on, they went out into the crowd for a pretty intense brawl. Turned out to be the turning point in the match as Jay White hits Fletcher, or as he's trying to springboard back into the ring, and just fucks him up from there. And White hangs him up in the ropes with a neck breaker, and then they go back outside, and White's just chopping him down. Suplexes, and Jay White's dominating. But eventually Fletcher gets a forearm in, an elbow shot, and starts his fight back. Really good babyface fire. I really liked what I saw from this guy. He's called the Aussie Arrow. So this was an Australia versus New Zealand match. A little Oceania
Anzac action.
Yep.
I like it.
Fletcher is a really nice looking Michinoku driver. He caught Jay with it out of nowhere at one point and followed it right up with a cabrata and almost got the win right there, 2 3/4. And Jay manages to get out though. A lot of back and forth, a lot of chops. White actually ends up just hitting Fletcher so hard that he's drawing blood. But Fletcher still is never say die. Never say die. Lawn dart, diving knee, almost gets in the win. But, White just powers back. And when Fletcher misses on a moonsault, Jay White just has it instantaneously, hits the Blade Runner. There it is, 1, 2, 3. Great match, though. Great match. Fletcher is someone that I definitely think I'm going to pay a little bit more better attention to going forward because he looks like he's got what it takes to be someone of substance. I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially in next year's Best of Super Juniors if he's in that weight class. I'm not entirely sure, but he looks like he could be in that weight class. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him there next year.
I like it.
Yeah. Here's an interesting moment. So we've talked about Saber Okada.
We have
talked about Saber Okada,
which was quite good.
Yep, excellent match from Sakura Genesis. My God, the rematch. Oh my God, this rematch. Zack Sabre Jr. actually beat Kazuchika Okada. And this match was just beyond words good. I can't even do it justice by trying to give it blow by blow. Watch it. Just freaking watch it.
I will watch it tomorrow.
It was so goddamn good. The finish, I'll just say, countering the Rainmaker into the Euro clutch. Holy crap. Was this amazing. We've seen some interesting Rainmaker counters in our day. This one may take the cake as probably the best one I've ever seen. Just so good. Zack Sabre Jr. deserves to be a main eventer everywhere. He's a made man.
He's a made man in New Japan.
Yes.
We talked about how over his submissions were at Dominion, and I imagine that this is just another step in the process of getting him to be an upper echelon guy.
Yep. And you'd think after that the main event wouldn't be able to measure up, but oh no, my friend. Oh no.
What was the main event?
Suzuki Ishii
Oh,
for the British Heavyweight Championship.
Nice.
Was ungodly good. As expected, these two beat the holy hell out of each other. They were just destroying each other this whole match. This was easily one of the most physical and violent matches that I've seen all year. Without a no DQ stipulation or something to that effect. And again, another match where trying to give it a blow by blow won't do it justice. Just go and watch these two beating the shit out of each other. Because Suzuki, as pulling out all the stops to get back his goddamn British Heavyweight Championship, and Ishii being Ishii, one of the greatest men that's ever lived. It's everything you want in a match. It's everything you specifically, George, want.
And I will watch it.
Yeah, this is your kind of match of just two guys who very clearly hate each other. And this is only the second time that they've ever met in a singles competition, surprisingly enough. The last time was a Kizuna Road show in Akita, Japan, 5 years ago. This is only the second time that they've ever met in singles match, and it's for the freaking British Heavyweight Championship. And it is beyond amazing. Ishii, a guy like Ishii shouldn't be a babyface by all technical definitions.
No, he's a big ugly dude.
He is one of the best babyfaces when you get right down to it, because he just is so good at just getting you invested in him fighting back and, getting you in on, trying to, get that win, get it out of there. And he's stellar. Love that man. Watch the freaking match. It's so good. So good.
Hyped for my friend.
Those are the highlights and one kind of low light of Strong Style Evolved. Like I said, a lot of filler. A couple of other noteworthy matches that I will recommend to watch just for the people involved. They weren't standouts, but they were pretty good. Tiger Mask versus David Starr was a pretty good match. The 4-way for the British Cruiserweight Championship, David Starr, El Fantasmo, Taiji Ishimori, and Tiger Mask was also pretty good. Walter versus Yujiro Takahashi was but I mean, it's Walter, and seeing Walter beating the shit out of Yujiro Takahashi is always fun. So
yeah, with you.
And the only other one I would say is Yuji Nagata versus Shota Umino, just because Shota Umino seems to be inheriting the mantle of best-looking young lion from Hirai Kawato. And Umino looks to be getting to that level where he might be on the verge of graduation pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. And let's move on now to talk about what is happening on Saturday. Saturday night, the Cow Palace in San Francisco, G1 special.
Nice. I am looking forward to this show.
Yeah. You want to run down this card with me?
Let me pull it up. To the wiki machine.
Mm-hmm.
Computer loading. What is it called? G1
special in San Francisco.
In San Francisco. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. We have... I'm going in order of what Wiki has. This may not be the order, although I imagine it will be close to the order. Because New Japan doesn't screw around with the orders. They start at the bottom, build their way up.
Yep.
We have Chaos, which is Yoshihashi, Geto, Rocky Romero, Yo, and Sho versus the Bullet Club. King Haku. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I love it when
Tanga Loa, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. First of all, King Haku, fuck yes.
You can't not love King Haku.
Everything is 100% better with King Haku. There was a podcast I listened to where we watch old movies, and they talk about like old movies, and they could do deep dive in the old movies. And one of the questions they ask is, would this movie be better with Danny Trejo? And the answer is always yes. And would this match be better with King Haku? The answer is always yes.
Yep.
Yeah. King Haku is a great, great man, and I am excited that he is in this match.
Hell yeah.
That being said, this is probably going to be just a fun-looking 10-man. But that's fine. It's a crowd opener. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean,
they're not all going to be Okada Omega.
The idea here being that, the crowd getting to see King Haku beating the shit out of, a bunch of chaos young bloods.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be amazing. And, of course, the Gorillas, my boys.
Your boys.
Finally doing something of substance.
Yeah, they've been on the back burner for like 9 months.
Yeah. So I'll be happy to see them getting some work in.
Did they even do anything in World Tag League?
No.
Nothing of note, right?
World Tag League? Yeah, no, they were in the finals, I think. World Tag League, yeah. The finals of World Tag League was the Gorillas versus Evil and Sonata.
Right? Oh, no, Evil and Sonata. You're right. So have they done anything since World Tag League?
Interesting.
They were in that elimination thing at the Dome, right?
They were holding the holding the never open weight belts with Bad Luck Fale for a bit there.
Okay. So they're still kind of on the
that was how they spent most of the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
next we have more chaos: Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano versus Suzuki Gun team of Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr.
I love the fact that they're keeping that tag team as like a consistent thing across promotions. It's great.
Yeah, and it works well together.
They work so well together.
It's very the Emperor and Darth Vader.
Yes.
In terms of Minoru Suzuki, the evil rat bastard, and his young apprentice, his Padawan learner, Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Hyped for Sabre to throw Minoru down a shaft to his death.
Mm-hmm.
And take over himself.
Yeah. Except instead of turning to the good side, just become even more evil.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, another fun match. I mean, Yano's taking the fall, but that's okay.
Yep.
Then we have Taguchi Japan. You know, our recurring theme on this show is Hiroshi Tanahashi still in Taguchi Japan, and the answer is yes.
This week, yes.
It's Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kushida versus Hangman Page and Marty Scurll. Scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you for this match?
I give it a solid 6.
Yeah, should be fun.
It should be a pretty good match. I think it'll be all right.
This is on Access, right? This whole show?
Yeah,
the event will be broadcast on Access TV.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. I am all in on Hiroshi. I'm all in on Ace, as we know. And I would put Kushida in the heavyweights. There's nothing left for him in the juniors. He's not a young man. So, and the juniors are flippy-do division, you know? Mm-hmm. Not that an old guy can't excel, case in point, Jushin Liger. But I would put Kushida in the heavyweight division. You got a lot going on there.
Yeah. Give him a chance. Put him in the open weight division.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of precedence there with Prince Devitt, R.I.P. Skypoint, winning the junior title a couple times, then challenging for the IWGP title.
Yes.
Once he formed Bullet Club.
And speaking of open weights, can we get a good round of applause for the Never Openweight Championship resurrecting itself and coming back from the dead on June 17th? It was
gone, and now it's back.
We totally missed that it happened 8 days after it died.
It was gone for a week.
Much like the
it's like in the Big Lebowski where they're all looking for the girl, and it turns out the girl just went to go visit her friends.
Yeah, they were only missing. It was only in the grave for 8 days before it.
But it's back.
Made a great comeback.
Christopher, this match. Speaking of Hiroki Goto versus Jeff Cobb, is the one I am most looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what. I don't think it is exaggeration to say that this is Jeff Cobb's highest profile match of his career, unless there's something I'm forgetting, and I don't think there's something I'm forgetting.
The finals of last year's Bola. Pretty high profile match.
I think this is more high profile because
this is probably a bigger deal because
it's a singles match, and that Bola was as a trios.
Yeah.
And B, this is going to be on American broadcast or American cable television live, and then put up on the world like the next day. Whereas Bola is DVD distribution because of that way they can get as much talent as possible.
Yes. So
this will be seen. I promise you, by more eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a championship match, which in a company where that matters, which always has more prestige.
Yes.
And this is an opponent I think Cobb can work well with, because Goto is big enough to be credible on offense, but small enough that Jeff Cobb can throw him around and make it look great. Like Jeff Cobb is going to hit the tour of the islands on Hiroki Goto. It's going to look awesome.
Oh yeah,
because Goto's such a relatively big dude.
Yeah.
I am hyped for this match. I am a Jeff Cobb guy. I have been for a while.
Me too.
He is very talented. I would love to see him full time. I would have had him in the G1 if he was available. I don't know what his dates were like. I don't, maybe he didn't want it or maybe he had other obligations. Mm-hmm. I think it is a matter of time before he joins this company on a more or less full-time basis. Very similar to what Sabre's doing. Yep. And I wish him nothing but success when he does, because he is the big angry gaijin has been a staple of Japanese wrestling forever, since the beginning. And that doesn't necessarily need to be a Caucasian. It just needs to be a foreigner. We talked about Bad Luck Fale filling that role. Jeff Cobb on his worst day is a better worker than Fale on his best day. And I like Fale.
Yeah.
He plays the monster heel to perfection. But you can't tell me that. I mean, let's put on the fantasy booking cap for a second here. You can't tell me that Sabre kicking Suzuki out of Suzuki-gun, renaming it Sabre-gun, and then bringing him Jeff Cobb as his heavy wouldn't be great.
Oh, my God.
It would be unbelievable.
Give me that fucking scenario right
as the
now.
big silent brooding monster.
Give me that. Or even better. I don't know if you necessarily could call this better, but fucking put him in the Matanza mask. I mean, or something similar.
Yeah.
Have him be like a faceless assassin.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
or like the
too.
weird half mask that the Girls of Destiny wear.
Yeah. That could
work. Or, I
too.
mean, you could put him in. There are a lot of options there. Once Bullet Club finally shatters, and I feel that it's just the cracks are there. You know, but Bullet Club is fine. Bullet Club is fine. But I'm saying that there are cracks. If and when Bullet Club is no longer fine, which is a universe that is not our universe, because in our world, brother Chris, Bullet Club is fine. But if and when, in a purely hypothetical universe where Bullet Club is not fine, because again, Bullet Club is fine, you can't tell me that that Jeff Cobb joining Team Islander wouldn't be great. And then going back to the Bullet Club basics of big nasty MFers who want to ruin your lunch, you know? Which is something they've lost a little bit in the interim since Devitt and company, you know. I think it's time that we have a non-Caucasian Bullet Club leader too, by the way. I think a group with that kind of history, I think it's time for the Islanders to stop playing second fiddle. And I wouldn't put Cobb in this leadership role. It's too soon. But I would 100% put your boy Tama Tonga in this leadership role.
Oh, yeah.
I would just kick out all the by Cody, by Kenny, by Bucks, by Kota. Chase Owens is the one as the honorary Tongan. You can stick around.
Yeah.
And Yujiro is just Yujiro because whatever, who gives a shit? It's Yujiro.
Leave him on the side of the road between shows. I've said that for a long time.
He just wants to get laid. He don't care who's in charge. As long as he can get his wet, he's happy. You know what I'm saying? He don't care.
Yep.
As long as that pimp juice is flowing, Yujiro doesn't matter. Don't matter to Yujiro who's running the show.
Yep.
As long as there's pretty women at the end of the rainbow. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you can't tell me Jeff Cobb is the muscle for either a reformed Bullet Club or a reformed Suzuki-gun / Saber-gun. Wouldn't it be great?
It would be amazing.
And you can't tell me that he would not have good matches with all the various heavyweights. Jeff Cobb throwing around Naito? Sure. Fuck yeah. Great. You know? Jeff Cobb and Sonata having a big man, little man match, even though Sonata's not that little. Great. Yeah. Sign me up. Jeff Cobb and Evil just slugging? Sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we already know that Jeff Cobb and Okada and Jeff Cobb and Omega hypothetically would be unbelievable because those two guys are unbelievable. So
Cobb in the G1 next year.
I am looking forward to this match the most. And I expect Jeff Cobb in his biggest opportunity to date to step up to the plate and put the fucking ball in the bleachers.
Hell yeah. I don't think he's winning this match, but I think it's going to be an excellent match.
Neither do I. But you could talk about making a guy in defeat. I expect this to be an excellent match.
Absolutely.
And that he can make a man Jeff Cobb can be made in defeat.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's why I teased it that this is the match I'm most looking forward to. That's why.
Absolutely. And rightfully so. This is going to be absolutely stellar. Let's talk about another match that's going to be absolutely stellar as well. Rematch for the IWGP Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks, the champions, Matt and Nick Jackson, versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, Evil and Sonata. Looking to take back their titles. Oh my God, I can't wait. The first match was amazing.
It was very good. And it was like 14 minutes. And it was 14 minutes and nonstop. And Nick Jackson being the man in peril and Matt bailing him out. And Evil and Sonata just doing their Evil and Sonata stuff. Yeah, this match was really awesome. And it was proof positive that every match needs to be 30 minutes long.
Yeah. It's simple stuff. It's the simple stuff that sometimes
it always is, my friend.
Creates the best moments. And that match at Dominion was a easy piece of evidence towards that.
Absolutely, it was.
And this should be the same. I expect this match to be very straightforward. I expect it to be very hard hitting, and I expect the storytelling to be top tier, just as it was at Dominion. I just have no fucking clue who wins.
I think the Bucks win because they're going into All In with the belts, but I wouldn't put any money on that.
Yeah.
That is a very guess, not even an educated guess, just a guess.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't shock me at all if Evil and Sonata take the straps.
Yeah.
I am probably going to miss this live because I don't think I have access, which sucks.
I'm definitely missing this live. Not just because I don't have access, but because I'm going to be I'm probably going to be out and about on Saturday, and when I get home from being out and about on Saturday, I'm going to be streaming immediately. So
yeah, usually Saturday night's date night. So usually I'll be out and about. I'm usually out and about Saturday too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is going to be a hell of a match. Hell of a match. And I'm excited for it. Oh yeah. Oh,
the tag team we never knew we needed, but always wanted in Kaz Okada and Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. I think Bushi's here to take the fall, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean that will be his function, but I don't think Okada's getting the pin here.
Neither do I.
I think Will's beating
Bushi. Yeah, and he's going to beat him with that weird Stormbreaker thing that he does.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. That because he used that in Strong Style Evolved.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of weird to not see him hitting the Os Cutter or the Robinson Special for the win.
I like the Robinson Special. I think the Os Cutter is I'm not a fan of that move at all. I think it's too elaborate. I think it's too gimmicky. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm glad that he cuts it out or is starting to phase it out.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ospreay is we've discussed how much I love the man. Yeah. I expect he's had a hellacious year. And I expect the second half to be just as good as the first half. And matches like this are a good springboard for him to keep having that role that he's on.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be a hell of a match. I'm looking forward to it very much. But yeah, Bushi's probably here to take the fall.
That's okay.
But at the same time, I'm not saying I expect it. But at the same time, you can't tell me that Naito hitting a Destino on Okada and pinning Okada in the middle of that ring would not blow the goddamn roof off the building. You can't tell me that would not make absolutely freaking insane. So I am guardedly expecting. No, I'm expecting Bushi to take the fall, but I am guardedly hoping that we see Naito get the win that he didn't get at Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, and maybe it comes off of
Dominion,
or Dominion, and maybe it comes off the end of freaking green mist from Bushi to Okada's face. Maybe it does, but even if it doesn't, even if it does come off of that,
I don't know. I don't think Naito and Okada are involved in the finish, though.
Maybe not, but I almost think you
got to save that.
I feel like it would be a hell of a moment though if that was what happened.
It would be a hell of a moment, but I think you limit their interaction because sooner or later they're crossing paths again, whether it's the next Wrestle Kingdom or even the Wrestle Kingdom after that. So I almost think that you kind of keep them as separate as possible.
Fair enough. That certainly is a reasonable thing to say as well. I mean, either way, though, it will be a hell of a fun match.
Very good. It will be lots of fun.
Undoubtedly. It's going to be
Speaking of fun, and speaking of guys who are going to beat the ever-loving shit out of themselves and each other, I bring you the 11th match in the Hiromu Takahashi / Kamitachi versus Dragon Lee sequence.
It's somewhere in double digits at this point, and every single match has been a goddamn masterpiece.
Chris,
and this one is going to be no different. I can't wait.
Over under on the amount of times watching this match that you cringe when they do some wacky ass bump is like 3.5.
3.5? I was going to say 13. Are you kidding me?
It's going to be like the number of holy shit, god damn it, you dumbasses.
Yeah. It's the oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Did you actually just do that?
You
moments.
dumbasses.
Yeah, you dumbasses. Yeah, these two
I love
thrive
you,
on that.
dumbasses.
These two thrive on it, and it's so amazing to watch. But at the same time, it's just like, why, fucking God, why?
It's like my sister. It's like when my sister says to me, "I love you, but you're an idiot." Like
Yes.
that's how I feel watching these two.
Yes.
Hiromu is charisma personified, and Dragon Lee is unbelievable too.
Yeah. These two, and the fact that they work so incredibly well together is the best part about it. Like, I imagine that backstage, these two have got to be the fucking best of friends.
I hope so. They put their lives in each other's hands.
Yeah, but the matches that these two have, you would think that they legitimately just want to kill each other. It's so believable. It's so believable.
It is the archetype. It is the archetype of 2018 junior heavyweight wrestling.
Yes,
is what this is.
Yeah, Sal, your match of the night probably will be my match of the night too.
If I wasn't so excited to see Jeff Cobb on a big stage, this would be my match of the night as well.
Yeah, this is going to be stellar. Everything about this is going to be stellar. I can't wait.
Number 8 in the death spot again for the second straight American show.
Mm-hmm.
Although I am looking forward to this, is Juice Robinson challenging Jay White. Now, Juice has the broken hand. Did you see that video I sent you with the promo?
Yes.
Juice is a great promo, and he's been a great promo since NXT.
Yes.
Now, his hand is broken, his left hand, and he's a southpaw, so that's going to be kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the storyline is, can he beat Jay White with one hand? And I am pulling for him, and you know what? I think he wins the belt here. Someone's going to win the belt. Someone's going to win the belt. I don't think it's going to be Cody. I don't think it's going to be Dragon Lee. And I have no idea, and I don't think it's going to be Jeff Cobb. And the Bucks are 50-50 if they're keeping the belts versus LIJ. So I think Juice is your best bet to win the belt. To win a belt, excuse me, on this show.
Yeah.
I love Juice. He's great. Needs a new finish, but he's over. The crowd likes him. He's a great upper mid-carder babyface.
The one thing that I think could potentially hold this match back and that I am kind of like not worried about but gives me a little bit of pause is the fact that Juice really hasn't been in any high-profile spots for a while. I mean, this isn't like last year where he had like a straight run of like being in the title scene for a bunch of different belts heading into the G1. And then, had himself a great G1. Since that moment, he's kind of fallen off the map a little bit. And I think that, him just coming out of nowhere to win the belts might be a little bit weird. But overall, I mean, if he is his normal, crazy charismatic self that he has been since his rise to prominence in New Japan, I think that he will galvanize that crowd and make them get them into it, and they will be all about it.
I like it.
Yeah,
I hope he wins it, and I am in on Jay White, but I think it's time for Juice to have the belt for a little bit and see what happens. It's a pretty minor belt. It's probably your third or fourth most important singles belt, depending on where you put the never.
Yeah.
So why the hell not? Give him the belt. Have him fight somebody at Power Struggle, see what the hell happens.
Yep. It's going to be good. It's going to be good, and I think that it'll be a springboard to him actually having a better G1 than he had last year. I mean, last year's G1 that he had, he was quite good. He was quite good in last year's G1, even with losing.
Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm. But this year, I think, is going to be a landmark year for him, and I expect it will be great. I expect it will be excellent. So
yeah, this is Juice's. This next 6 months from now to and through the Dome are really make or break time for Juice Robinson. I shouldn't say make or break. I think he's already made. So it's not make or break. He's not going anywhere. But if he wants to take that next step from where he is up a tier, And remember, this is a company that builds stuff very slowly. They don't generally rush into stuff. And the story they've been making with Juice has been very interesting to me. And I expect him to take that next step. Maybe he wrestles third from the top of Power Struggle with the belt. Who knows? I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible when you're as talented as he is and you're as over as he is.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it either way. Let's talk about the main event.
Yeah. Now, I was in the building for the last time these two fought. It was a very storyline-heavy match. We're talking about Kenny Omega versus Cody. Yes. It was a very storyline-heavy match because Cody is a very storyline-heavy wrestler. He's not the workhorse, the best bout machine that Kenny Omega is, and he's not the chameleon that the Kaz Okada is, and he's not the bundle of fire that Hiroshi Tanahashi is, and he's not the tranquil fury that Tetsuya Naito is. He is a story wrestler.
Yes.
I've made this comparison before, that he is the Miz. Great promo, great character, hot wife who gives him agency, and a good enough worker.
Yes.
I enjoyed the bout he had with Omega in Ring of Honor. I thought it was a little long, but that's to be expected. I think it was like 38 minutes. That's not even a little long. That is long. And I am looking forward to this one because I think Omega is on an all-time roll right now. And he and Cody will put together a good enough for match that will have at least one point where you're like, holy shit, I thought Cody had him. You know? Do I expect Cody to win this belt? I do not. No one does. But there is going to be a time in the match where you're going to get worked.
Oh,
and that's how you know it's a successful title defense.
Absolutely. And I think that this is going to set up a rematch at another show coming up very soon that we actually have to talk about as well. That should be the main event of that show, and I think is going to be a cornerstone of the next 6 months to a year of wrestling that we see in multiple companies. But we'll get to that in just a second. So you think Kenny Omega is winning this match?
I do.
I do too.
Do you?
Yes. I don't see a world where Cody wins the belt. I don't see a world where, and as much as I'm sure that they would love to put the belt on a gaijin that has a history with their biggest rivals on an international stage and who is well known throughout the mainstream at this point. Is probably one of the most mainstream successful talents in the wrestling realm that's not with WWE.
He has made himself into a superstar.
Yeah. I think as much as Geto and Kidani are interested in doing that, I think that they know it is not the right idea. Because the Bullet Club Civil War that is coming, whether you want it to or not, it's coming.
Bullet Club is fine. But
whether
go on.
You want it to or not?
I will entertain your fantasy booking. Go on.
When that Bullet Club Civil War comes, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship does not need to be a part of it because Bullet Club, in and of itself, as an agency and as an institution and as a brand, especially more than anything, as a brand, is in many ways, and here's a hot take for you. The brand of Bullet Club is in many ways more important to New Japan Pro Wrestling than the IWGP Heavyweight Championship is.
In terms of international expansion?
Exactly.
Okay.
Both international expansion and mainstream credibility. When people think about Bullet Club right now,
which is fine.
Most people think about Bullet Club, they think of a couple of things. They think of the Bucks, Kenny Omega, and AJ Styles, and maybe Ring of Honor. They think about people before they think about the places where that brand can be found. So when you want to put a thumbtack down and say, this is where you go to find Bullet Club, that's the important moment right there. that's the moment where Kidani and Geto can then go right ahead and say, this is where you come for Bullet Club. You're not coming here for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, even though it is the most storied and historic belt in all of wrestling with the greatest lineage of champions that there has ever been. You come for Bullet Club, you stay for the title. Bullet Club is now the hook. Bullet Club is going to be the hook that Kidani is going to use to make New Japan into intrusive force in North America. That is going to force WWE to recognize, oh shit, we have some competition again. And you know the place where it's going to start? The next show that we're going to talk about right now, All In. That's where it's going to start, right
nice
there.
Segue.
Yeah.
Nice segue, Chris.
Mm-hmm. I love doing good segues.
That was good.
Yeah. So, let's talk about All In.
Let's talk about All In.
There were two big announcements today for All In. There are two big announcements. The first is of the latest group of names to join the show. And it is a stable of names. The men known collectively as SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. The veterans of Ring of Honor have officially announced that they are going to be part of All In 2018. The ageless wonder Christopher Daniels and
like 48, right?
Yep.
And Frank Kazarian, who's been around the block too.
Yep, and Scorpio Sky, who has definitely been around the block.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they are going to be they're going to be part of All In officially, which is exciting. It's an exciting moment.
Good for them.
The bigger announcement, I dare say, is the first match that is going to be on the card for All In.
Well, second match.
Well, first match officially. It's there is talk about what the first match is, but this is the first official announcement of a match. And it is the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, versus the Villain, Marty Scurll.
I'm looking forward to this match. Let me tell you why.
Yep.
It's not something that you get in New Japan because one is a junior and one is a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
It has no storyline implications, except, and I don't know if this would happen, but Cody never beat Okada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marty beats Okada. That's one more piece of leverage he has over Cody Rhodes. It's like, man, I beat the Rainmaker. You can't even do that. You're not the champion. You can't even beat Okada. You can't beat Omega. But I beat Okada. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, and because Okada is a chameleon and a wrestling savant, I expect him to have an excellent match because it's what he does.
Absolutely. Undoubtedly. Now, one piece of news that we did not get to talk about that happened a couple of weeks ago. Let me actually get the exact date on it, which is kind of unfortunate, but does lead to some speculation about things that I was referring to earlier. This was actually, no, it wasn't a couple weeks ago. It was actually just 2 days ago. Just 2 days ago. It was officially announced, Cody Rhodes announced via Twitter that Deonna Purrazzo is no longer able to attend at All In and will no longer be a part of the show.
She's all out.
She is all out.
Sorry. I'll stop now. I'm sorry.
And with news of Chelsea Green appearing at WWE Performance Center tryout last week as well, another female performer who is scheduled to be part of All In, this does raise some questions. is it possible that the luminaries up in Stamford, Connecticut have begun targeting some of the higher profile indie names that are not directly affiliated with Bullet Club to try and bring them in and make it so that they cannot be part of All In?
So that they too can be all out.
Is it possible that other undercarders might bolt?
Like who?
Well, the one name that sticks out to me that is a possibility, other than Chelsea Green and Deanna, obviously. I mean, Chelsea, she's already said on Twitter, she's basically said on Twitter that even regardless of the tryout, she is still going to be part of the show. But I mean, card subject to change, obviously.
Yeah, and they could make her an offer she can't refuse.
Yes. And the other name that strikes a chord with me is another one of the female performers that is booked for the show, one Britt Baker.
Ooh, okay.
Who just so happens, as many who watch social media know, who just so happens to be a longtime significant other of one Panama City playboy Adam Cole.
Baby.
Current North American champion of NXT.
Baby.
Certainly leaves open the possibility that they say to Britt Baker, we'll give you a spot, a high-profile spot in the second Mae Young Classic, and let you have some time on NXT and let you spend some extra time on the road with your boyfriend, Adam Cole, but you have to walk on All In. And they just throw a giant pile of money at her. And Britt Baker, who was freshly graduated from dental school, I would not be shocked or surprised in the least if she decided to take that offer and walk from All In as a nice way to help get some of her dental school bills.
Yeah, I imagine medical school is not cheap.
No, not in the least. Not in the least. So I would not be shocked if that happened. It's because she has been excellent very lately on the indie circuit as well. She has been.
I wonder what the drop dead date is, like, for All In. Like the show is what, the first?
Yeah.
I wonder, like, when you get, like, what's the latest you can pull out without being just a giant bag of dicks?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't pull out the day before because that's a total just a douchey move. But, like, could you pull out the week before, like, and be okay with it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're, and I have no idea if Britt Baker would do this, and I don't know Britt Baker. I have no relationship with her, obviously. But is Britt Baker the kind of person to take a booking and then 48 hours before the show be like, sorry, guys, we go to NXT, screw you? You know? And that's well within her right. I'm assuming there's no contract or anything. It's just a booking. People cancel bookings all the damn time. Yeah. On both ends, on the wrestler and on the promoter end. It's not unprecedented or even unusual. But I'm just saying, I wonder what that timeline is.
Yeah, I think I can say though, like I'd have to guess that the reason why that Deanna is pulling out is probably for the Mae Young Classic #2,
which is
I would have to imagine that they're going to be doing unless they are not following the format that they went with last year, and I don't see why they wouldn't, because I don't think that they really care to try something different. But especially considering that Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler are doing very well for themselves in NXT, I think that they are going to prop that up as saying, well, the format was a win. They're already a huge deal in NXT, so the format was clearly a win. Never minding the fact that they're, of course, two of the best performers in the entire NXT women's division, and both have charisma oozing out their pores like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Yeah, absolutely, in their own separate ways.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised in the least for WWE to put none of the credit on them and to say, oh yeah, the format of the Mae Young was just fine. We'll just do it again. So given that, I would not be surprised to see that the Mae Young tapings would happen probably sometime in early August. And then for the performers involved to be in blackouts for the month following, leading up to whenever the finals are.
Okay.
That's what I would expect.
That makes sense. So I guess we will wait and see, I suppose, right?
Yes.
We'll have more on this, obviously. We still got another month and a half, 2 months before this show even happens.
Yes.
So we will for sure have more as we get closer to the show date and we see what happens.
Yes, indeed.
Congrats again to Britt Baker, by the way, for graduating dental school. That's not easy.
No, it is not.
Good on you to set yourself up for a career after your bump card gets full. We talk about this business ripping people to bits and chewing you up and spitting people out, and I'm very happy that she is not letting that happen to her.
Yeah, definitely.
It reminds me, I got to schedule a dental appointment too. So thanks. Good on that too. But honestly though, in a profession that is not conducive to retirement or post-career retirement, the fact that she has something set up as a moneymaker is a testament to her intelligence and foresight, and that's something that should be lauded.
Yes, indeed.
Baby.
I think Don Sal is kind of sick of us saying that.
That last one was for you, Don Sal. Yep. So.
All right. So you gave me a homework assignment last week, and I gave you a homework assignment. I kind of flubbed it, but I came up with 5 during the.
Let's go in reverse order. We'll alternate. How's that sound?
Sounds like a win.
Let me pull up my thing. Scrolling down. Come on, you piece of garbage. Fucking email. I always keep a draft in my emails.
Yep.
There we go. And I just add to it during the week for the show. It's my show notes. My damn email is not opening.
God, there we go. Email. Stop it.
No, it's opening, but now it's not scrolling. All right, here we go. All right, I got it.
Okay.
You're number 5. What do you got?
My number 5.
This is wait, let's set the stage. The half-year matches of the year.
Yes.
In 2018.
Yes.
Any matches eligible, any promotion, as long as it's worked, not a shoot.
Yes.
Sorry, UFC.
That's unfortunate, but true. Yes. Number 5. I'm going to go with, from Dominion, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match between Hiromu Takahashi and Will Ospreay.
Okay.
And let me just say, this and my number 4 were like 1,000th of a percentage point apart from being like flip-flopped. Like I honestly cannot decide. And it's a testament to the one performer who was involved in both of them. I will say that much as well.
Mine is the Young Bucks versus Omega and Ibushi from the March New Japan show in Long Beach.
Excellent choice.
The tag match. And my number 6, by the way, the first also receiving votes was the tag match from this last Takeover. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Undisputed Era.
Yep.
Those are my two best tag matches of the year. And it is a hair's breadth separating the two.
Yeah.
So you can put them in whatever order you want.
My number 4. Again, 1,000th of a percentage point. Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay from the New Japan 46th anniversary show.
Great match. I need to go back and rewatch. I love Will Ospreay grapple fucker.
I cannot get enough of this match.
It is a case study as to how versatile Kaz Okada is as a professional wrestler. And how Will Ospreay decides not to do flippy shit because he's not a junior anymore. And that he gives you a taste as to what his offense will be like when time slows him down. And that he could still be effective.
Yep.
My number 4 is Will Ospreay versus Matt Riddle at the WWN New Orleans show Friday night that I was in the building for.
Great match. Great match.
And with Ospreay selling the neck and ripping the tape off. And that's the good stuff right there. Your number 3.
My number 3. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa from NXT TakeOver. Not this past one in Chicago, but whatever the last one was.
New Orleans.
New Orleans, yes.
New Orleans, yes. New Orleans. WrestleMania weekend, yeah.
Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa from WrestleMania weekend, New Orleans.
The one that didn't have the screwball finish.
Yes, exactly.
unbelievable match.
Unbelievable.
My number 3 is Kazu Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from Dontaku.
Mm-hmm.
A match that is made that much better if you've watched every other match in the series. But even on its own is still an unbelievable match. I loved it. I loved the callbacks. We talked about the frog splash and the tombstone. We talked about this at the time. Go dig in our archives, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2 of the best of all time at the apex of their game, having a match in front of a rabid crowd and the crowd buying everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the old guy just not able to get it done.
Yep.
And the young man just struggling to put him away for the record-breaking 12th title defense.
Yep. Oh,
Your number 2.
That's my number 2.
Oh, okay. My number
Tanahashi.
2 is Gargano Ciampa. Is your number 3?
Yep.
So I imagine we have the same number 1.
I want to hear your number 1 first, actually.
My number 1 is Kazu Okada versus Kenny Omega from Dominion.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It is not only my match of the year, it is one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen.
One of the best.
It is on that tier with my personal favorite matches. Punk Cena from Money in the Bank 2011, Bret Hart Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13.
Yep.
It's the tag team match, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit versus Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin from May of 2001 Monday Night Raw. Yep. It is on that grouping of what makes everything I want in a wrestling match.
Yep. Literally everything.
The first fall, Omega being out wrestled by a better wrestler, but then his stamina carrying him through, to the one-winged angel still being the silver bullet, to the V-trigger through your TV screens, to Omega pushing off Okada to get up and dig deep for that little bit, to the downward spiral that Okada's been at without the belt, to Omega going for the Phoenix Splash and missing it, and me thinking that's it, he's fucked, to the Rainmaker bouncing off him because Okada's spent, to Okada crying as he's being dragged out of the ring, to Omega not grabbing the belt because he wants to hug his friend, because that matters more to him.
Yeah.
To the fact that me just talking about that makes me choked up, and it's been a month.
Yeah.
It is the absolute apex of what I am looking for in a professional wrestling match.
Yep.
Why is it your number 1, my friend?
Everything you said, and even more than that. I've talked to you about how much I've talked to this show at large about how much I love a great story more than anything in a professional wrestling match. And that a great story will carry me further than any amount of in-ring work will carry me when it comes to a good match. In-ring work, good in-ring work definitely is important. And I'm not discounting good in-ring work. And this match had some of the best in-ring work that I've seen from these two in their entire careers, undoubtedly. But the long-form storytelling that led up to this encounter, this being the fifth match between the two of them, the 5th match between the two of them in this saga, and everything that has gone on surrounding it, the continuous swirl and cycle that always keeps bringing these two back together against each other, much as it was with Okada and Tanahashi, which is why that was my number 2. The continuous cycle and swirl that keeps bringing these two back together. And when the next encounter happens between Okada and Naito, that's going to be the same thing. Okada has these 3 men that rotate around his worlds and both simultaneously define his world and are defined by him. And the 4 of them together, and you'll notice there haven't been very many encounters between Omega and Tanahashi. There haven't been very many encounters between Naito and Omega. You know, Naito and Tanahashi did have their feud, but it has been quite a while since that has been something that's on the table. Those 4 and especially adding in Okada as the centerpiece of that is one of the best storytelling elements that there ever has been in all of wrestling history. This long form story of Okada just cycling among the best that there is to offer.
It is two guys at the apex of their game in terms of in-ring ability and storytelling ability and wrestling ability, telling it's not an 18-month story.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 5-year story for Kenny Omega. He left DDT in 2014, right? At the top of that promotion, and he became a mid-carder in New Japan. He joined the Bullet Club when he was junior, biding his time, right? Wrestling in junior matches, biding his time, not going anywhere, climbing the ladder. He kicks AJ Styles out of the Bullet Club. He takes it over and he brings it to new heights. He wrestles Okada in a match of the year and he loses. He wrestles Okada again in a better match and he draws. He wrestles Okada in a third time in a better match and he beats him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go their separate ways for 11 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Omega kind of wanders the wilderness a little bit. He gets sucked into a Chris Jericho vortex. And then he kind of bounces around, right? He fights Cody. He loses his way. He finds his golden lover. He loses his friends. But at the end, at the top of that mountain, Kazuchika Okada's sitting there just squashing all comers. I don't know if we'll ever get a story like that again where you have an all-time great title run defended by an all-time great wrestler usurped by another all-time great wrestler at the culmination of his own all-time great run. Like the sequence of events. Will there be a better wrestler someday than Kazuchika Okada? Yes, there will be. That's just how it is. You know what? 60 years ago, people said there'll never be another Babe Ruth, and there was Willie Mays. And then 50 years ago, there'll never be another Willie Mays, and there was Barry Bonds. And then there'll never be another Barry Bonds, and there was Mike Trout. That's just how it is, right? And 40 years from now, we'll say there'll never be another Mike Trout, and then someone else will come along who's better than Mike Trout. You know? There'll never be another Bill Russell, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes along. There'll never be another Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Jordan comes along. There's another Michael Jordan, and maybe LeBron James comes along. That's just how it is, right? There's always someone better.
There's always
I'm going to say Kazuchika Okada is the best wrestler of all time. I mean, by the time it's all said and done. But you know what? 40 years from now, there will be another better wrestler. It's just how it is. And he or she will have another rival who is just as good as Kenny Omega. Because that's just how it is.
Yep.
But will those two, who may be better than Okada and Omega, have that same intricate storyline, that same multi-layered storyline over years, right? Okada vanquishes Tanahashi. Another one of the best of all time. He vanquishes Naito and Evil and Sonata and whomever and Suzuki and Sabre and Ospreay and all of these murderers rows of wrestlers only to lose because the fucking belt sucks the life out of you. You'll never get that story again.
Never.
That combination of storytelling and in-ring and everything else that you had. I mean, it was a... Look, there are times where I fucking hate professional wrestling.
Oh, God.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
We've had plenty of those times in 2018. Plenty of them.
Plenty. And we'll have plenty more because that's just how it is. Because this is a fucking scumbag business at the end of the day. Never forget that. There are times where I hate professional wrestling. I hate watching it. I hate having anything to do with it.
Yep.
But you know what? I go back to that match, and I say, damn, I love this shit.
Yep.
End of the day, Kenny Omega hitting that one-winged angel and trapping the leg, and Red Shoes flying into position like the only he can do, you know? And slapping that mat, and the crowd losing their minds. And Okada, ever the professional, selling that move the entire way back.
Yep.
And I say, damn, you know what? all the bullshit on Twitter and all the bullshit with fucking he said, she said, he did, she did, whatever. All the bullshit that I put up with, all the bad matches, all the stupid segments on Raw, and all the garbage on SmackDown, and all the shit on Ring of Honor.
So much BS.
And everything on Impact that's going nowhere, right? All that garbage. You put up with that. The reason we watch this shit, Chris, the reason we watch sports, the reason we watch wrestling is because 1 out of every 100, 1 out of every 1,000, 1 out of every 10,000 times, something magical happens.
Yep. And the
you watch football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been watching football for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been an Eagles fan for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you've watched fucking bullshit for 25 years.
Oh, there's been so much bullshit.
You've seen, and I'm going off the top of my head, you've seen the fucking Bucks come into the link and beat you guys in the cold to go to the Super Bowl. And you've seen McNabb fail over and over and over, and that team go nowhere. And you've seen Terrell Owens blow up a team. And you've seen Brian Dawkins get old. And you've seen the team of the century with Nnamdi Asomugha get old. And you've seen Michael Vick not be able to get it done. And all that, and you put up with all that garbage.
The era of Rodney Peete and the Detmer brothers.
Yeah.
I've seen
all that
some shit. But let me tell you.
It was, and every now and again, man.
There's a Miracle at the Meadowlands.
That's it.
And then there's a Super Bowl 52. Just like that.
It all turns.
Omega Okada 5. But let me tell you something. Though. And this is probably the thing that has me feeling the most sublime about all of this. I talk about those guys orbiting each other and Okada being in the middle of those 3 other men and the long-form storytelling that has engulfed Kazuchika Okada, the best fucking professional wrestler on the planet and maybe one of the best of all time. Easily one of the best of all time.
He's in the competition.
I can't say he is the best, but he is easily one of the best. What has me feeling so sublime is knowing that even with the jubilation of Omega Okada 5, there is still down the line Okada Naito 2. There is still the G1 match between Okada and Tanahashi. There is still a title rematch between Omega and Okada that is surely going to happen in the future. There is Omega Okada in the G1 that is surely going. Oh wait, no, they're not. They're in opposite blocks in the G1, so never mind. But still, the title rematch is there. All of these moments with the amazing talent that is intertwined within this story and with the incredible deft hand with which New Japan has woven this story together, there is still at least pretty good chance that one of those moments in the future has the ability to top even this, which was easily one of the greatest moments in my entire time of being a wrestling fan. Easily one of the greatest moments that I've ever seen in my entire time of being a wrestling fan. To see, and then Okada, one of my favorites, one of the 3 people that I love the most in professional wrestling, watching him lose is one of my favorite moments in all of wrestling that I've watched.
Kaz Okada is my favorite wrestler in the world, and I was thrilled that he lost.
Yeah.
Thrilled. Because that's how good the story they're telling is. Look, man, I mean, I'm tired of wrestling a lot. But then you watch something like that and you say, man, it's all worth it. All the bullshit on Twitter and all the bullshit everywhere else is all worth it.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe the answer is just get rid of Twitter. I don't know. If it wasn't for you and Sal, I mean, I'd be there, to be honest.
Yeah,
you know?
No, absolutely.
To keep it as a message thing, I'd be there.
I keep my Twitter more so because it keeps me connected with my streaming community than anything to do with wrestling these days.
I think the solution isn't. I think the thing isn't that match was really great. It's that wrestling Twitter is a fucking cesspool. I think that's what I've learned in my little speech there a few minutes ago.
That is the
wrestling Twitter is a fucking disaster.
It is.
You know,
it is.
So
just don't contribute to the Twitter bullshit.
I don't know, man. I think my Twitter is just going to be just bad soccer takes from now on. So, speaking of,
I endorse this.
Anything else before we get out of here, my friend?
Nah, let's do the plugs and let's call it
away.
All right. So, Don Sal in the chat. We of course have to give him yet another plug because he is one of our favorite people. And he is one of the smartest man. Don Sal, we love you. And
we love you, Don Sal. And that was a great match, by the way, Ishimori and Hiromu. That's an awesome,
great match. That was probably my number 7 on the list.
Yeah, it's in the top 10, easily in the top 10.
Yep,
it's been a good year, my friend. So
it has been. But Don Sal has a new episode of Match Fixing out very recently through Cedar Bridge Media. Go check it out either on Sal's Twitter page at Kusmano_Sal or on Cedar Bridge Media's page at Cedar_Bridge. Make sure you're following both of them and make sure you're getting all of the great content that Don Sal brings because he's just an awesome dude and we love him. Wednesday night shooting with our friends Tanya Rogers and Andrew M. Swift. You can't miss it. You gotta listen. They are amazing. They do all the best takes and they are just so entertaining and so knowledgeable about the product. They are a joy to listen to, and they cut through the bullshit that you have to deal with in WWE and tell it like it is, and that is the thing that I love the most. I mean,
guys, your choices are watch 5 hours of Raw and SmackDown or listen to Tanya and Chris.
And Andrew.
I know what I'm doing.
Tanya and Andrew. Huh?
Tanya and Andrew. I'm sorry. Tanya and Andrew. Yeah, your choices are watch 5.5 hours of Raw and SmackDown or listen to Tanya and Andrew.
Yeah, and Andrew is far smarter than me, so you probably would prefer to listen to him regardless. But yeah. The two of them, they know their shit, and they are amazing. Check them out. Be sure to give them a listen. Give them a follow on Twitter, especially at Militia Malice Joe and at Andrew M. Swift. They are both worth the time and worth the effort. They are amazing. What else are we missing? Our brothers in Los Ingobernables de podcast, Shooting Debris, Takers Meaning and Mr. Dr. Senju, of course, with their Saturday morning podcasting about the Graps. They are spectacular men of the wrestling world, and they will give you the best knowledge that you could possibly wake up and start your weekend with. Be sure you're following them at Shootin' Debris 1. That's Shootin' Breez 1 on Twitter. And also, you can follow them on their individual Twitters at Takers_Minion and at MRDR Senju. And of course, Takers Minion also has the Connoisseurs of Wrestling podcast on Sunday nights, 9 p.m., except on weeks where there are WWE pay-per-views, with his co-host Biff Kensington and occasionally his other co-host Legends Lover. They're talking about professional wrestling and history and bringing you all sorts of great knowledgeable stuff that you will not find anywhere else. Incredibly informed minds about the world of professional wrestling and where that history relates to wrestling today. Definitely worth the listen. Make sure you go and check them out because they do awesome stuff. Follow us on Twitter as well at 2guys1sport, number 1 in the handle. Get all the updates on when we are going live and when you can come and listen to us. You can also follow our individual Twitter pages at @Savas for George and at CrazyChris576 for me. In other media, you can also find me over at twitch.tv/CrazyChris576 for all of your video game streaming needs. I usually stream Borderlands 2 as well as whatever other games are striking my fancy. But come on over and check it on out if you guys want to talk some video games and just have a good conversation with the community over there. Twitch.tv/CrazyChris576.
Can confirm, great community. I'm blessed to be part of it. Chris knows his shit, and watching him die over and over again is perversely entertaining.
Oh,
sorry,
absolutely.
Chris.
Oh no, it absolutely
is perversely entertaining.
It's fantastic. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing people turn in for the most.
That's why I'm looking forward to you build up a character from scratch, because I figure you'll be dying a lot.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. You can also follow us on iTunes. Follow the link below the video description to get over to our iTunes page and subscribe. Give us a rating, give us a recommendation. And, of course, let all of your friends in the professional wrestling world know to come and check us out on Thursday nights. We love having you guys in the audience, love having you interacting with us in the chat, talking about all the topics that we've got going on. It's what makes the show worthwhile. So thank you guys for being here. It means the world to us. Episode 66 is coming up next week, and we have another WWE-centric show as we're going to be previewing Extreme Rules and looking ahead towards SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. We'll also have your full recap of G1 Special in San Francisco and talk about where that is taking us leading into the G1 itself in New Japan. And
which is rapidly approaching.
Make sure you're back here for that. Again, next Thursday night, same time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on the YouTubes. George, take us home, my friend.
As always, thank you for listening, chatting, messaging, hanging out with us. It is a great honor to be the jump start to your weekend. For Chris, I'm George. This has been Two Guys, One Sport. Don't work yourself into a shoot. Good night, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody.
Episode 65 is in the books.